Guys, another build. Yes, sir. This time we are doing another of my Ring of Malevolence builds, which to me they're the prime elemental damage type of builds, but to each their own right. This time we're using the Handler first as our main archetype, and we're using the Archon second. I'll explain the whole build real quick. So again, the armor, we don't care about that. The HP, we don't have a lot of HP regeneration as of electricity build, our shock build. So we're gonna be using the normal Dragon Heart or whichever Dragon Heart you prefer. For weapon, we are using the Sparkfire shotgun level 20. Does decent damage at 300 per shot. It does incendiary damage, which is the main theme of this build, is fire. We're using Firestorm, which is my personal favorite mod of this game, hands down. I love this thing. We are using Harmonizer, which increases the damage, or the mob damage on this Firestorm by 20%. This stacks with the Archon's 50% mob damage, so now we're seeing 70% extra mob damage on this weapon, and it generates 25% additional mod power for the stowed weapon. This is important because this build is basically focused on our sidearm. Interesting, huh? So now we have the Smolder level 10, basically because it does burning damage. I don't have him with Ammutator right now. I really just use Edgelord. But basically it's here because the charged melee attack applies fire, which obviously is the main theme of the build. And finally we have the Star Shot with Big Bang. So this guy is the BigBang Firestarter. Big Bang is on its own a very OP move. It does a projectile that does almost 300 direct damage and 300 explosive damage, so that's 600 there. In a 7.25 meter radius. It might be bigger because I have Amplify. The explosion applies burning damage over 20 seconds per charge consumed. Per charge consumed. So all of this is per charge consumed, and you can charge 5. Additional charges consumed increase damage by 5% up to 25%. So on top of this, we have a mod, that mutator that increases 20% more the mod damage, and there's a 15% chance to not consume a charge. So, yes, this Big Bang does a lot of damage. Like, we're talking big fat damage. So, let's go and talk about the archetypes real quick because it goes in hand to hand with the damage. So, Support Dog is, in my personal opinion, the best support thing in this whole game. It gives you health regeneration, it gives you 25% increased movement speed for 25 seconds. This is ginormous. 25% movement speed is a lot. Especially me, that I'm always walking around with my trait, the Swift, right? Swift, go out to the Swiftness. So I have 15% more movement speed, and then I have 25 here, I have 40% more movement speed. That's not taking into consideration rings. So my other build had a lot of HP regen, this one has mobility. So I always think of giving my builds like a secondary important trait, right? Bonded as the prime perk, I just feel like in this build, the Ring of Malice just does so much mod power that there's no need really for the primary Archon ability, the one that gives you mod regeneration. There's simply no need for it. So we went ahead and we're using the Handler. You know, a chance to revive me, chance to revive others. It is very, just simply, it can save your ass. So then we have obviously we have this one, the Archon. It does not do a lot of damage in this build as it does in the shock build, but it's still a great way to charge your mods in the case of an emergency or deal with mobs. So it's still pretty decent, and again, Amplify is just the main reason to use Archon anyway, given though that 50% damage and 10% critical hit chance to our Big Bang. Then for rings, well, for Amulet, we have Talisman of the Sun, which increases fire damage 20% and burning damage 50%. This directly buffs this shotgun and its mod, and indirectly buffs the Big Bang with the burning damage. So it is a great amulet to have here damage-wise. We have Heart of the Wolf, which is a personal favorite ring of mine also. 25% stamina, that's why I have 155 and 10% more speed. This 10% stacks with my trade that gives me 15%, so I'm always running at 25%, and when I use the ability of my dog, it's effectively 50% speed for like 30 seconds, so that is a lot. Stone of Malevolence, which is the Ring of Malice. The Stone of Malevolence, this is the main ring here. Then we have Firestorm, more fire damage, fire resistance, and we have Timekeeper's Jewel, which increases the duration of fire. This is not 100% necessary. I didn't go with Affliction in this build, and the duration of this shotgun is really low, so I kind of did it for the shotgun mostly, but everything benefits, right? The duration, it benefits the Firestorm, it benefits the Big Bang, and even it benefits the Havoc form, and it benefits the dog that does bleed damage, even if it's not a lot, but hey, it's there. So I'm basically just showing you the synergy, how everything just whips together, right? Then for the traits, we have Fleshcaster, comes with the Archon, we have Kinship. Now, kinship is extremely important, and it is the main reason why we're using the handler. Without this, I assure you, you and your friends are gonna get killed by your own tools all the time. All the time. Because this build uses amplitude, which basically increases the area of effect size. 45% might be like 25% way too much for this build, but trust me, if you have amplitude, you are gonna need kinship. At least at level 7 or level 8, because if not, you, yourself, your dog, your friends, everybody's gonna die. Well, not your dog, because if you have your dog, you have this, but you know what I mean. I always like having a bit of HP regeneration, it comes handy. This guy's in level 4, it seems I missed a point here in Spirit, but it's okay. A bit of Bark Skin, a bit of Shade Skin, I like having this tool to not be just naked. Revivalist, at least at level 8. Footwork, I have it at level 6, and again, Amplitude is the main big guy here. So yeah, so that's the build. Now let's see what it does. Does a lot of damage. So first of all, the Big Bang on its own has a huge area of effect. So as you can see, I basically burned the shit out of everything. You can see how the mod power is regenerating down there. I already have 3 charges, 4 charges. So this build is so self-sufficient that the own Big Bang can regenerate itself. Additionally, you have a very big Firestorm, so be very careful where you throw it if you don't have kinship. The damage stacks up. You can throw multiple ones of them because of how much elemental damage you're doing, right? I think you can have like 4 or 5 active at the same time. Just be very careful whenever you're throwing these at a boss that has very high mobility, because yeah, high mobility, yeah. They will move, the tornadoes will try to suck in opponents, but if it's like a boss and he just doesn't get sucked in, then he will move with the tornado and he will basically have a free fire shield and you're gonna burn yourself and everybody. But that's why it's so important to have kinship, because you can see how much defense I have against this tornado. If I was not using, damn it, I'm burning here. So if I was not using kinship, I would be long gone, long gone. So the strategy here is very simple. You're gonna be throwing both of these things and just cycling between them, just doing massive loads of damage all the time. If you ever need like even more damage or mod power, you can just simply go and use your Archon form. Also gives you some mobility, also gives you a shield. Don't forget the shield, you can protect your friends and assets with it. And this build, well, I do have like my normal regeneration here, and I do have the dog. Again, you can see, like, come on dog, do the thing. And you can see basically your mobility normally, it's pretty high, like we move very fast. This should be give or take about 50% movement speed. So there you have it. This is the BigBang build, BigBang Firestarter. Basically just throwing these guys around. I highly recommend you use the dog. It's not only a great support, it also gives you 30% skill. Gives you, where is it? 30% ranged and skill damage. So that means that it also buffs 30% the Havoc form. So that's something else that is worth mentioning about the handler. Normally, the dog is just massively good support with health regeneration, speed, the ability to revive yourself, the ability to send him to revive somebody else, plus the skill damage, and kinship basically made him the perfect companion for this build. It basically tones down the power of all of these fire tools that we're using, right? Just by a little bit. And again, obviously your shotgun also does fire damage, so unless you're fighting against things that have resistance for fire damage, you're good. I would never survive a big bang on the face like this if I was not using kinship. Just saying. Well guys, let's move then to the next video. Thanks for watching.